What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to GmiasWorld. Today we're going to be talking the mid-zone KO glitch. Is it for you? Is it not? We're going to find out right now based on the way your teams are. Many of you guys have either come over to the Raiders with me or you're still on the 49er theme team. Wherever you are, Ravens, some of you guys said, I believe a lot of you guys came in going crazy about the Giants theme team. But obviously we're going to ignore you because, like, why are you doing it? But it doesn't really matter, bro. Enjoy your theme team the way that you want to. This is what we're going to be talking about, though. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the defensive side of the ball. For those of you guys that have been with me throughout the entirety of the year, you would have known that we had already started to experiment with some of those zones. We did the flat zone KO. I think I had a game with deep zone KO. Pretty much that's what made Richard Sherman valuable when we had the 49er theme team. We were able to manipulate a lot of those different zone abilities. Now, the truth about the abilities in Madden 21 is that EA developers are still experimenting with the abilities. They don't know what really works and what doesn't. All they do is they wait for feedback and then they nerf according to whatever the program has put out there. For instance, when Acrobat was one on everybody, you know, a lot of people used it because that was the way that you got your players to actually have a brain and dive after a ball that was right in front of them, right? So because of that, they now increased it for non-cornerbacks because people were running around with safeties doing it and it was getting a little crazy. But that was an ability that we as a community understood it worked, right? So now, what's the new thing, right? We all know about the one-step aheads. A lot of dudes are running around, haven't taken a shower in weeks with 3 or 4 one-step aheads, and they're doing whatever they want. That's fine. Like I said, if it comes down to it and I have to run it, I'm going to stop taking showers too, and I'm going to run it as well. But for now, we're going to make fun of those guys that are running 3 or 4 one-step aheads. But let's go ahead and talk about the mid-zone, right? I want to go ahead and point out a few things. This is one of the most important things you have to understand. The man-to-man corners, it's still going to be 2. I believe the zone corners still get it for 1. So with that regard, it's more like for a team that has zone archetype corners, this is heaven. All right. Unfortunately, for a guy like me and most of you guys that are playing Madden 21, you have a lot of archetypes that have your player with the man-to-man archetype. So you're going to have to spend 2. All right, you're going to need to spend 2 to get mid-zone KO. Now, what's this whole glitch that everybody's talking about? I don't really think it's a glitch. EA Sports manipulates the way that zones play time and time again just to kind of alter the feel of the game. Has nothing to do with being a glitch. That's not what the case is. Just because something lights up, that does not mean it works. You guys, we figured this out at the end of August when the game first came out. You know, we understood, like, look, this game has a lot of issues that are going on, and we started to figure out, all right, he lit up right there. Why is he lighting up right there if he's not giving anything? You remember, what was that offensive play? We're gonna go over there, go check it out. I think it was Matchup Nightmare, right? You remember when we figured out that just didn't work? And it was lighting up all the time, but the guys wouldn't catch the ball. It's a similar situation with mid-zone KO, all right? What happens is everybody, they pretty much light up and nothing else is done. They just light up. And it's like, okay, so why are you lighting up? Pretty much what's going on is a lot of you guys feel that you get a better reaction on the ball. That's the initial thing that I get from you guys. It's like, yo, Gmia, my guys are reacting. They're not technically reacting better than they would if they didn't have the right attribute. Let me explain that to you, right? The difference between mid-zone KO and one step ahead is that Dante Jackson is a trash can card, but he will play like Dion with one step ahead, which is why you see a lot of players that play for money, they'll put Dante Jackson on the team and give him one step ahead, and he'll play crazy. What they don't tell you is the glitch that they're saying with mid-zone, if the player doesn't have the right zone coverage, he's not going to play the ball any better. You understand? Like, you have to have a certain number of zone. For me, the minimum was 90. When I had people under 90 zone coverage and I was spending the extra AP earlier on, even with the previous cards that I had prior to upgrading, they didn't play better. Now, for your team, let's talk about what your team is, because for the longest time, my free safety has always had it. All right, so when you look at this, I have to squeeze in the specialist section, Isaiah Simmons, right? My deep safeties have always had mid-zone, no matter what. But let me tell you what's glitchy about mid-zone. It'll light up and your player will still get burnt for 6. And a lot of you guys are probably laughing at that, like, yo, he's right. Like, the dude, he's telling the truth. And many of you guys are going to say, Gmia, why is that? The reasoning behind that is the ability is supposed to let you be more aware of what's going on because of the reaction. If you read the description, it pretty much tells you okay? It's improved reactions. It doesn't tell you that the guy's gonna actually really have a brain and know that if a guy's running a cover 3 beater, he shouldn't just stand steady in the middle of the field like he has sand in his shoes and not move to either side. They don't tell you that. Now look, here goes where it gets interesting, right? MIdzone lights up anywhere on the field, so everybody gets excited. It's like a Christmas tree, like, oh my God, he's lighting up, right? So you automatically get crazy. This is where it gets even more interesting, right? The deep out KO, like the deep out zone and the deep in, this is why EA Sports did this. I'm gonna go ahead and break this down to you, right? Universal coverage was so OP in Madden 20 that they made it an X factor this year. You see, this is why I'm trying to explain that we are all experimental mice. And unless we start to understand what's going on and call out the BS, they're gonna continue to do it. So when you look at deep in and you look at deep out, right? And you see the fact that it tells you improve reactions, knockouts in deep outside zones, and they separate it. The reason for that is because they want it to be random. No matter what or how good your player is, he is not supposed to be able to make the right decision every time. So they split it up. Now, think about this, right? When you go and you look at the mid-zone KO, there is no like mid-zone out or mid-zone in, it's just mid-zone KO, and it's just flat zone, right? But because of the deep pass and the way that universal coverage is so crazy, they're like, yo, you know what? We have to make them choose. Because more than likely, we're not gonna choose to use this, even though deep in zone KO, when I used it with Sherman, did it work? Like it lit up, but like if people don't throw a deep pass, you really can't get the gist of it. So it's like, it's only for when you get a dude that wants to run those cover 3 beaters or, you know, the cover 2 beaters, you'll be able to see that your player will react better. But the separation of it, that's by design. Because you gotta, just hear me out, right? Theoretically, if you have a guy with 99 zone coverage, right? Let's just say for all intents and purposes that the guy has a brain. Like, you know, your player's out there, his brain is functioning properly, he has 99 zone. If he's playing the deep third, and a guy runs a cover 3 beater, and let's say he's going from the right to the left, in real football, that safety would recognize that he's cutting and he's going from the right to the left on a deep cross, a deep post, whatever he's doing. In Madden, they just stand there. Now, mid-zone will light up when the guy is running that route, but he won't do anything. And then after the ball is thrown, you have to then click on, get a speed burst, and see if you can make the play. Now, does it lighting up have anything to do with it being glitchy? I don't believe so, but I keep it on the deepest guy because if a ball for whatever reason is not thrown right, like you have to know when to throw the cover 3 beater. If you throw it too early, it's going to be picked. If you throw it too late, it's going to be picked. You got to throw it at the right time, and usually it's a bullet pass that's led to the outside so that the person has time, you know, their receiver has time to go out there and beat, you know, whoever the defender is. So when you come out and you run mid-zone is glitchy, but it doesn't help, you know, with the deep cover 3 passes is what I'm trying to explain. It's not like it's an all-around glitch. Anything underneath that's going on, they will react to it. So say, for instance, a guy comes out and he has like a flood concept. He has a little, you know, the little flat with the tight end. He has like a, you know, an out route, little quick little out route, and he has a streak. He's running like a flood concept, right? And Isaiah Simmons, let's just say for whatever, we have him like in the purple on that side. The mid-zone is going to react to anything to a certain level. So he's not, like, you could set your zone drops or whatever, and that's when that starts to get a little bit more technical with the zone drop. But he's going to pay attention to the mid completely. He's going to also pay attention to what the flat zone is. But once it gets outside of a certain distance, he's going to no longer have a functionality of his brain, and you're going to be able to beat him over the top depending on how he plays it. And the reason that I'm pointing this out is, many of you guys, if you wanted to go and just say, you know what, I'm going to give my outside guys mid-zone KO, it would probably help you if your opponent is not continuously trying to go deep. You see what I'm saying? If your opponent is continuously trying to go deep, that's where it gets technical. That's where it's like, all right, EA split this up, so we're not supposed to always be able to defend, you know, the deep in or the deep out with zone. That is what I wanted to make sure you guys totally understand. Mid-zone will work around anything, I would say between 10 to 20 yards. You know what I'm saying? And then they'll jump on the flat, whatever, but it's not like flat zone. Because if you guys remember, earlier in the year, I was running flat zone and blitzing everybody, because flat zone, they reacted to the flat super fast. So we were able to get better plays. MIdzone now, the excitement behind it is because it lights up everywhere on the field. So just because it's lighting up, I just want to make sure that we confirm that lighting up does not mean it works. All right, so let's go ahead. I'm gonna show you guys something else. As far as my last couple games, you'll be able to see the way all of these games went through over at GmiasWorld Gaming a little bit later. You'll see the full-length gameplay for those of you guys that are subscribed to GmiasWorld Gaming right here on YouTube. Number one, I appreciate you. Number two, you probably hung low, but you ain't Chinese, no. But listen, that's neither here nor there. When we go back over here and we take a look at the fact that some of these players had matchup nightmare, and we were labbing it to see, like, you know, let's see, because it lights up all over the place, right? If you equip Matchup Nightmare on your players, it's not like Madden 20. Madden 20, I played a couple guys that threw it into 5 guys. Like, I knew that he was going to his tight end. He had Matchup Nightmare, and they just let him animate, and he would just moss me. The tight end would just moss you in like 5 quintuplet coverage, whatever type of coverage it was. They didn't care. Now, this lights up all over the field, but your player drops the ball. So the reason that I'm pointing that out is, don't be too excited about the fact that it's lighting up. MIdzone is very, very interesting. Like I said, because it appears that they're reacting very, very fast. The biggest flaw is it's not all over the place. It maintains a certain type of depth, and you will see it. You will see, your players that have it, they will get beat deep. As soon as it goes a certain type of yardage, they'll just be like, all right, I'm good. So that's the biggest deal. It's not like a crazy overall glitch that you just have to have. That's not what it is. But it is very, very good to have. You know, like, it is something that, you know, especially for me, when I put Isaiah Simmons in at free safety, for the most part, unless it's a cover 3 beater, he plays very well. That's what I'm going to say with that. Just to kind of, break it down for you and make you fully understand, that's the depth of what's going on with it. So, if you guys wanted to go out and you wanted to put MIdzone on, you wanted to start running around like an absolute psycho, that's fine. Like, I'm not gonna be like, oh bro, no, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't do it. I want you guys to have fun with it. I want you guys to enjoy the game. As ridiculous as some of the things may be, I just want to make sure that you're aware of it. And I'm not gonna soup something up that's not, like, it's not like it's that OP to where, like, you have to have it on your squad. Like, even with like the the one step aheads. Obviously, you can motion, motion streak, you can motion, slant, stuff like that. It's a lot of different ways to beat it. It's just annoying because you have to adjust what you're doing. You have to try to figure, all right, this guy's doing this. All right, cool. This guy's, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have to figure out what's going on with it. But it probably would make sense. Now, look, hear me out though. This is where it gets very, very, like, specifically, it's like next level Madden. Acrobat is still really good. So what happens is this, right? When a player gets hit and it's a throw out of sack animation, a lot of us that have Acrobats, you guys are already going to say it in the comments. What happens when somebody hits you in a throw out of sack? If you have an Acrobat, the guy dives like he's Superman and he just goes and picks it, right? Say you put on MIdzone. This is what my issue is. You put on MIdzone KO, but you can't afford now to also have Acrobat. What happens on that same exact throw? You're going to now, when the guy gets hit with throw out of sack and you click on to try to make a play, EA is going to make you either stick your hand out very, very foolishly, or you're not going to animate to get the pick unless it's in the air long enough where you could jump up and get it. That is one of the biggest deals that you have to understand, because you can take the abilities off your other players. You can go ahead and do that. If that's something that you want to do, you guys can have at it. But I'm making sure that everybody thoroughly understands, when you take that ability of Acrobat off your player to go MIdzone and you can't afford to also have Acrobat, a lot of the plays that change your game is throw out a sack. Because EA Sports implemented that to kind of give us a real, football feel, but they did a horrific job to start it off because, throw out a sack was like the best accurate throw earlier. Then they patched it. It still was accurate. Now it's kind of iffy. You don't get the longer, deep ones the way it used to be, but the short ones are still accurate, and somebody can still throw out a sack on you for 6. So they didn't fix it completely. But the Acrobat activating to be able to dive for those loose balls and, like, oh my God, he got hit, throw out a sack, that is a game changer, guys. That's something that you can't just get back. It is a very, very important thing to make sure that you understand before you go this route. Because realistically speaking, right, most of you guys that have been following the channel and building your teams, You guys have similar teams to mine. Many of you guys have rode with me no matter what. That's why I appreciate my real ones. Like we go and like I'm with the Raiders right now. A lot of you guys went with the Raiders and you're enjoying it, right? So one of the major things about it is the zone coverages of both the rods. Well, I'm about to say both the, what? I'm about to say Woodsons, both the Woodsons, both the rods. It's only one rod in Charles, right? So they both have that crazy zone coverage. So this is the option that you have. They're either going to play defense or they're not. Okay, this guy has 95 zone, but he has 99 man. Okay, they have high numbers in their individual attributes to be able to go out there and make plays. So with this right here, Rod has the 99, right? He's like 99 all over the place. Is it true that he would probably be better off having an additional boost with mid-zone? Not necessarily, because they both, if a guy comes out running bunch tight end with the glitchy play with the crossers to the right, they still won't play that deep zone. You see what I'm saying? Like, so it doesn't, you got to use your brain with this. It's not going to enhance the way, the game is what it is. So it's not going to enhance any kind of, you know, glitchy cover 3 beaters, cover 2 beaters, cover 4 beaters. It's just going to make them actually react. And that's what all of this is about. We are very frustrated because we don't react to certain plays and they just stand there. And that's not going to change through mid-zone, which is why, like I said, I prefer to give mid-zone to the guy that's going to be playing deep. And that's why Isaiah Simmons has it. After that, I'm not concerned with a lot of the other stuff because I know in my heart that it does, like EA did not develop the game for anything to be consistent all the time. So you can't be over prepared for a game that's, you know, it's unpredictable. You just do what you do. You see the players that you have out there, you give the specific players abilities, and you let the chips fall where they may. That's it. So, you know, you could try out the mid zone. I already know about it. I've been using it for a while. It's been lighting up and doing all that stuff. Not that big of a difference once you get to a tier where your players already have that better zone. For me, through my experience with Madden 21, Acrobat is a very, very useful tool to have because when they start throwing low passes in the red zone, when they start doing stupidness like that, you're going to be able to make plays that you otherwise would not have been able to make without Acrobat. And that's the bottom line. Even if you go like mid-zone KO, if you're running man or whatever, they won't go after it. They'll just stand there and get dotted. So it's still a useful tool. You guys can go ahead and experiment with mid-zone. I'm going to continue to keep it just on Isaiah Simmons, like I said, and see how that works out. But other than that, you guys can go ahead and check it out for yourselves. I would recommend that you keep Acrobat on the field as much as possible if you're not going one step ahead. See, one step aheads, those are glitchy. They'll just super fast shoot in front of the ball and probably pick it. That's the advantage of one step ahead. With the zone coverages, mid-zone, they're not going to jump down in front. So that's the one exception to the rule. If you were to go, you know, with one step ahead, you would have that advantage because once you throw the ball, EA slows down your receiver and boosts up the defender. So that interaction is so random, it can happen any which, you know, the probability of what would happen is ridiculous. And that's what they want. They want a game that's unpredictable. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys. I'm going to stay fast with the Acrobats, and then we'll just go from there. Everything else that's happening, we don't need to really worry about it. We're going to do what we do. I want to thank you guys and girls for watching. Hopefully you have a great day. Continue to enjoy your holiday. Happy New Year. Until next time. One love, y'all.